What's up, guys? It's Talon. So today we're going to be going over the best counter to the meta in Wild Rift currently, which is Lilia. Lilia is just overall really strong right now because all of the champions that are really meta are a lot tankier. They have a lot more HP, and Lilia is really good in the tanks and the HP because of the true damage she has. She's going to completely melt through them, and she's going to have a pretty easy time surviving the early game now because the durability update made it easier to not die. And obviously not dying, not getting one shot was one of Lilia's biggest weaknesses because assassins countered her very hard. It was very hard for her to play the game when she is getting one shot by an assassin or other things like that. So pretty much everything is just really good with the meta, and it just suits Lilia perfectly. So we're going to show you guys the gameplay. We're going to talk about how to play her, all those types of things right now. So typically you're going to start blue side because you do have mana issues, so you're going to have to start blue side most games. Pretty straightforward jungle clear. Overall, you're just really scaling up until the later parts of the game, trying to get really to your 2 items, your 3 item power spike, and then once you reach those kind of power spikes, you're going to be very happy. Going into the build really quick as well, you're going to go for Mana Boots, Liandry's, Riftmaker, Deathcap, Crown, and Twin Guard. Obviously, if you need different situational items later on in the game, you can switch that, but that's going to be the typical thing. Twin Guard late game because you don't really need extra damage, so the survivability is more important. Then for runes, you're going to go Phase Rush, Gathering Storm, Giant Slayer, Omnivamp, and Overgrowth. And again, so here you just see we're just going for a pretty straightforward full clear here. Pretty much what you're going to do almost every time on Lilia is just full clear. You don't really care that much about helping your laners out early. You're just going to focus on clearing your camps, farming, scaling. And then once you scale up, again, once you hit maybe 1-2 items, you can start to look for more fights. But until then, pretty much just going to farm, like I said. So one of the best champions for Lilia to play into right now in the jungle is Amumu, who is the best champion probably in the entire game. And I'm going to make an Amumu video. I'm probably going to make an Amumu video today as well, so I don't know if I'll upload the Lilia or the Amumu game first. But either way, you guys will soon have an Amumu video as well. And so this is definitely one of the counters to Amumu. Again here, the reason that it's going to counter so well is because of the fact that obviously Amumu is a very tanky champion. So the only thing that you really will worry about with him is if he CCs you and tries to one-shot you. And so grabbing a QSS can usually, alleviate that weakness. So that's really the only thing you need to grab. I would say after 2 items, maybe 3 items, grab a QSS. Then you're going to be chilling in that matchup and you're going to outscale really hard. So early on, Amumu is going to get a good early kill. I swear to God, I've said Amumu like 14 times. Their jungler gets a kill early on. So he's obviously in a pretty good spot. And even if the early game doesn't go the best, we don't really mind because we're not really an early game champion. We're just trying to scale up, and you're going to see the kind of strength that we're going to have later on in the game. So we're just going to skip through as we farm some more because, again, this is going to be the early game. It's going to be pretty straightforward. You're going to farm. If you see a gank opportunity, go for it, but you don't have to necessarily. Tries to invade us. The jungle does there. We end up still getting the smite there. So, again, we're just focusing on the farming, which is why we're going to skip through. I'm not going to show you guys all the boring parts. You see we try to get the Darius here. I'm pretty sure I messed up my first ability here. Yeah, I missed my first ability, and so then I almost screwed up, but luckily Set still gets the kill, so that was a bit troll by me, but it worked out in the end. And this is what I mean, not that much is going to happen early on. Maybe you find a gank angle or 2 there, you get a kill like I did, or, an assist in that case, and that's great. And if nothing happens, you're totally fine with that too. You're just going to have to play pretty selfish, play really to farm and to scale. I'm not typically going to pick Lilia every single game. I'm going to only pick her when I see the enemy team comp is quite tanky, or we need an AP jungler or something like that. So that's also something to keep in mind. And then here again, we're going to go towards the Herald. Typically, you're going to prioritize the Herald if you can on Lilia because she's really going to like that additional gold that you're going to get from it. So anytime that you can do that, you're going to prefer to. Again, here, obviously, I could go for the gank, but I'd rather just prioritize the objective right away. And so that's what we do. We just go for the objective again. It's a very straightforward playstyle, kind of like how I was showing you guys how to play Echo earlier. And so now we even want to see if we can possibly invade them. We're just going to drop the Herald on the mid lane and then try to end up killing this Katarina. We throw our ultimate, but we don't really end up getting much value from it. And so again, we won't go through all the early game in detail since it's a very straightforward early game, and that's not really, the value that you're going to see here. I'll just skip through and again, keep showing you guys just the key points. But right now, we're just farming. Anytime we have camps up, we're going to prioritize that over trying to help our teammates out. We're going to invade there because we saw Amumu on the other side of the map. And we're just going to, try to sneak a camp from him because he was not there. I had my flash up, so I was fine with doing that. Unfortunately, he gets there just in time. But it doesn't really matter. We just tried to because we had some extra time and we knew he wasn't, there right away. So I thought, let me try to sneak it. End up being 100 HP, so pretty much like 2 auto attacks late, which, it is what it is. But again, you can just see how much we're prioritizing this farm here. We'll go back here to show you guys basically what happens here. But Darius, really low health, so we end up just flashing onto him and first ability, then ultimate to try to get him to die. And I believe we do end up killing him there. I don't know, he's pretty tanky, I guess. Nah, he doesn't end up dying, so a little unfortunate. But shout out to Sona for the nice rotation there. And again, let me know if you guys prefer me kind of skipping through the games like this, or if you just want straight up, you know, I show every single part of the game. Because obviously I know sometimes I just show the entire game, sometimes I skip through the boring parts. I don't know what you guys prefer, so just let me know. Galio roams here though, we're just trying to look for any type of play. Again, one of the main things for Lilia is just trying to keep your Q up as much as possible so that you have that movement speed. So like, you know, you Q anytime that you see, you know, minions or camps or whatever. That way you constantly have that movement speed. You can see now my movement speed is decaying because of that passive there. And so we're just trying to get any amount of damage onto them if we can here. We have that constant burn, and we end up getting a decent little situation there. Still only really getting assist though, so you can see I'm not actually that strong gold-wise. But I am sitting on a decent amount of gold. I'm 6k gold, which is still, you know, on pace with their jungle. Still one of the stronger people in the game. And then once we hit that 2-item spike, you're just going to see the amount of strength I'm going to have. And so again, we go back to farming here. Very straightforward. Just anytime these camps are up, I'm pretty much farming them. Unless there's an objective up. Otherwise, we're just trying to get gold. We're even going to farm a side lane wave here a little bit if we can. And then we're just going to recall. So I'm going to buy my Leandries. I'm going to almost have Riftmaker as well. And so buy buy second dragon, I'm already almost 2 items, which is pretty good. And so I want to go get that last camp. But you're going to see my Misfortune steals it from me. And so I wanted to get this camp because it would give me Riftmaker. But Misfortune, unfortunately, she wanted it for some reason. So we don't get the Riftmaker before this fight, but it's still not the end of the world. We're still not in a bad spot. So we're just going to, again, the way you're usually going to play fights is pretty patient. You're going to let your front line go in. You're going to let your team kind of make the plays. And then when their front line goes in, or when you see an angle, you're going to look for potentially a big first ability plus flash combo onto them, or something along those lines. So you see, we're just going to start the objective right away. I'm fine with flipping it and just trying to win the smite. If we lose the smite, it's not the end of the world. And then after that, we're just going to take the fight. So we get the ultimate onto the Amumu. Not really the best gameplay for me there. Honestly, I could have gotten more value from my first ability before ulting, but it is what it is. We still kill the Amumu. We missed the smite, so it's a little unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world because we're just going to go back to farming. And again, even though we don't play it super well there, the main focus is just getting gold on myself. Once I'm on those 3 items, especially 2 items is solid, but I want to get 3 items before the next dragon, ideally. And then we just go back to farming again, just constantly prioritizing that gold. And this is exactly how you're going to play this, because once you get to those, you know, later parts of the game, you're going to see how much damage we're going to do. Obviously, you know, not the most eventful early game, but that's usually how this champion goes. So if you prefer those kind of farming, scaling champions, Lilia, it's going to be for you. Again, really, really good counters into the meta, and you're going to see that later on in the game as well. So obviously, we try to end up picking off that Darius as well. We grab the third ability on him, but not going to over chase that or ult or anything. Just go back to farming again, farm our entire blue side. And then now the Sivir gets caught, so we're going to start playing this fight. Again, we just get a first ability, and then we run away. You don't really need to auto-attack much. You just, every time that you have your spells up, you can try to combo onto them, and then you just run away. So we first ability, second ability onto the Amumu. We grab the kill on him, and now we're just going to force the Baron. You have pretty good smites as well with your first ability comboing with the smite, and so you can try your best to combo the smites. So anytime that you kill enemy jungle, you can see how fast we're going to melt this thing, and we're just going to try to stick onto it and make sure that we get the smite at the very least. We do end up getting that. And then again, you're just running around, pretty much grabbing as many first abilities as I can on people. I end up getting the big shutdown there onto the cat. We miss our first ability, which then makes us pretty slow because we didn't have our passive staying up. And that is a bit unfortunate, but we end up trying to ult the Sivir and see if we can kill them. But we don't really, I didn't realize that the Amumu is respawning at this time, so I got kind of tunnel vision, and Amumu shows up, so we have to run away. But a very tanky Sivir as well with the Yuumi. So yeah, our Galio ends up getting caught. That's my fault there. Made him get caught. But again, you can see we're now on to our third item. We have Death Cap. And so you're going to see this damage increase as soon as we hit Death Cap is really, really strong. Obviously, we're going to go farm again as much as possible. Constantly prioritizing that farm, pushing the waves out as well because we have the Baron. And then now we're on the Death Cap. So once you hit Death Cap, that's really going to be when you're going to be pretty much as strong as you possibly could be. We're going to go for the QSS, you can see here. But I believe next time I recall, I already have Crown, so then I just get Crown. Might be mistaken there, but I think that's what ends up happening. But yeah, you can see this clearing 2 of my jungle. I literally one-shot my camps at this point. Like, it's so much damage when you have your full combo up. So that's kind of really nice too, is the wave or the jungle clear later on in the game is so fast. Then we try to Go on to Amumu here as well. Amumu has the new item Canic Rockern as well. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, we end up getting the ult onto them. I do die. No, I end up getting saved by the Sona, right? The Sona saves my life. Shout out to Sona there. And we end up getting the kills. You can see the amount of damage we were able to get off in that fight as well. Even if I did die, we would have had enough damage to help out our team. And so we easily killed them all there. And we're in a very good spot. You can see how we just kind of waited to scale up to farm. And now my champion just starts going crazy on everyone. We'll use the fact that we have the Baron to push mid quickly, and then just go right for the dragon as well. Pretty important to go for the dragon here because I believe they have 2 dragons, and we obviously want to deny soul, but we also wanted to see if we could pick off that Katarina. So right after we get this, we're just going to go straight to the dragon, make sure we get that killed right away. I was a little bit worried here because my team didn't follow apart from Sona, so I thought maybe the Amumu could possibly come to steal, but it looks like it ended up working out, so it didn't really matter. Yeah, you can just see how fast you melt the objectives too. I mean, your full combo does like almost 2,000 damage on it. So you just do a couple of those and all of a sudden it's just dead, which is really, really nice. Again, the scaling on this champion is very strong. And then we just go right back to farming again. Such a straightforward playstyle too. So if you're trying to find an easy champion to play as well, that's another nice thing about this. It's really not that hard to learn Lilia. The only weird thing is how fast you are. You have to get used to the movement speed. You know, it's really weird running around this fast and being just so mobile, but if you get used to that and get used to the spacing, the overall mechanics of the champion, they're pretty straightforward. So that's definitely a nice thing as well. And then, yeah, you see here we have crown completely. So I just go for the crown because that's kind of going to act sort of like QSS, you know, with blocking potential CC or a spell or anything. So now I just want my QSS. Once I hit QSS, 4 items in QSS, I mean, I'm pretty much unkillable if I do that. So that's really the goal. We see a possible fight here, so we end up going for it. But nothing really ends up happening. And so again, we're just keeping our passive up as much as we can on these camps, getting that movement speed. You can see the absolute absurd speed that Lilia has. That's really, she's so fun too. It's just so fun running around and just one-shotting everything. And again, anytime a fight breaks out, you can literally just grab one first ability flash combo and all of a sudden you're going to ult everyone. Look at that, just a 3-man ult, everyone taking so much damage. I completely melt through them with my first ability. And then we end up killing the Amumu there. You can see that absurd damage that we get onto him. And I think we'll just go force the Baron because again, we kill their Amumu. You can just see how much you can melt through anyone with this champion in the late game. That's really why you're just so focused on farming. It's because your damage is just crazy. And so we're just going to get another free Baron there. Very straightforward gameplay too. You can kind of see it's very like methodical, very straightforward. You just farming. If you see a gank opportunity, great. If not, go right back to farming. Wait till the later parts of the game. Then you just pop off like this. Obviously, if your team is doing really bad in the early game, it's going to be a bit harder. And so if you do end up finding that your team does really poor early game, the main thing that you're going to want to try to focus on is going on the opposite side of wherever the objective is spawning and try to get gold there or just try to make plays like that. So especially say second dragon is spawning, you're going to just go the opposite side of second dragon. You're going to get some waves, maybe get a turret off that, stuff like that. That can let you come back, and then all of a sudden you're going to find you have a lot of gold. Like for example here, the gold is actually very close in this game. I think we're only up like 1k, but I'm 15,000 gold and 4,000 gold ahead of their jungler, and so that farming that I do allows me to kind of carry the later parts of the game, even if enemy jungle might be able to make plays early on to get their team ahead. And that's kind of like the risk you're taking, but it can be, you know, a very good risk potentially. And so I have QSS, so I'm not that worried about going in here. So we end up getting a lot of damage onto Amumu and just kind of playing this fight pretty patient. You can see I'm not going too ham. I'm kind of being patient. We end up ulting there to get the sleep onto the Darius. And again, even though my team ended up dying there, I'm just kiting back and using my movement speed to just keep cutting them out. I know that I can potentially kill them because I have QSS here and absurd movement speed as well. So we just keep trying to do that, but notice how I'm not going too deep. I'm just playing my best to kite them. If I end up finding an angle to kill them, great. If not, I'm just going to try to keep them poisoned. The poison from Leandri's ends up meaning that I can't auto-attack the Nexus. I get targeted, and so that was a bit sad. And so we don't end up ending, but it's fine because we killed their jungle again, so we can just go straight for the Elder Dragon. You can see how fast I am, how much this Sona is helping me out too, with just the constant healing and just the overall damage. We keep everyone poisoned. Basically, your job is to poison as many people in the fight and then land a big ultimate. You're not necessarily trying to, you know, constantly get as much damage output as possible. It's more about keeping everyone poisoned, keeping your spells applied to them, and then, you know, you just find that angle to one-shot them once they're low enough. But overall here, we're trying to play for the smite, but the Darius ends up coming in, so we just have to try to kill him right away. And we end up just running around. You can see how hard it is. Like, they can't really catch us. We end up getting the smite as well with the nice little smite combo there. And then we just end the game. Pretty straightforward there after winning those fights. You can see the absurd damage as well. Just a very OP champion overall right now. Pretty much anytime you see the enemy pick tanks as well. So you're going to see as well the damage on Amumu here at the end. I believe you'll end up seeing just how much damage we end up sleeping him. You can see that first ability did like 25% of a tank Amumu's HP. So we end up killing him there, end up ending the game. So yeah, overall, Lilia going to be a great counter to champions like Amumu. Most of the tank champions in the meta right now are going to be countered by Lilia. So I definitely recommend trying to pick her up, trying to learn her if you're looking for a really good counter to the meta overall. As always, I do coaching for $15 an hour. If you're interested in getting coaching, just DM me on Discord, Talon1169, or through the link in the description to my Discord server. If you're interested in memberships, you get access to videos early, you get access to my coaching notes, and things like that. So that's just $5 a month as well on my YouTube channel. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed.